Welcome to the show. As some of you may know, the Olympics are being held in Japan this year, and China is involved in a genocide against the Uighur people. Now, you might be saying, David, why are you telling us two seemingly unrelated facts? Japan, Olympics, China, Uighur genocide. That makes sense. What's the connection? Well, the connection is that Fox News guest Morgan Ortagus on Tuesday described the upcoming Summer Olympics in Japan as the Genocide Olympics, apparently confusing Japan with China. I mean, what the hell, right? Let's take a look at the clip. And what's even more stunning is nobody on the panel even corrects her. Kayleigh McEnany's on the panel. Nobody corrected. And Harris Faulkner says, wow.
And around these Olympics, I like to call them the Genocide Olympics. Anyway, I'm still on the team that I'm not even sure that we should be competing because there is an ongoing genocide in Xinjiang. So if we are going to go to
Kayleigh McEnany's actually nodding. If you're not watching, Kayleigh's nodding about this.
Country, if we are going to compete and have American athletes there in a country that's committing a genocide, even more important, Harris, to have the freedom of the American flag fully represented.
Wow, says Harris Faulkner, except that's not what's going on, and nobody corrects Morgan Ortagus. Trump's former White House press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, nodding along. This is not a minor mistake. Which country tends to use buckwheat noodles? This is the topic of which country is accused of genocide against a portion of its own population. Japan has no involvement with the atrocities. And in April, Japan actually raised concerns about the Chinese treatment of the Uighur Muslim minority. Now, I saw one comment which asked, is it possible that Morgan Ortagus is talking about the Beijing Olympics of 2022? Or could she just be clueless and not understand that it's not in Japan, but in China that the Uighur genocide is taking place? Normally, when someone says these Olympics and the Olympics start in a week, they're not talking about some other Olympics in some future year. I don't know. I know that English is my second language, but that's my understanding of what people tend to say when they say these Olympics. And what's really crazy is that Ortagus is a political advisor, served as a State Department spokesperson from 2019 to 2021. And she's making this mistake, which gets us, of course, to the next question. Do most Fox viewers know the difference between China and Japan politically? Or do they just both sort of sound like places that are far, that are close to where the so-called China virus came from, and they just sound like a lot of trouble? I don't know. Japan, China, I'm not really sure. Maybe this is a perfectly fine analysis on Fox News Channel because they don't really distinguish between these two countries. An absolutely bizarre segment on Fox News. And of course, there are real questions about these Olympics taking place in Japan. The questions really relate to the pandemic, not to the Chinese genocide of Uighur Muslims. There's also questions around the Olympics about the role of cannabis as a banned substance, which is considered equivalent to performance-enhancing drugs, even though it's not a performance-enhancing drug, and by some reports, it would sort of have the opposite effect. Anyway, the point is there's lots of issues to discuss related to the Olympics, holding them as Japan re-enters COVID guidelines, the role of certain substances and drugs, so many things to discuss. The Japanese genocide of Uighur Muslims is not one of these things because it's completely imaginary and fabricated. One of our sponsors today is Blue Blocks. Blue Blocks glasses filter out the blue light coming from your computer screen, your phone, your TV, which can be really helpful because blue light from screens can cause eye strain, headaches, even trouble sleeping at night. These are my Blue Blocks glasses. They've been a big help. I'm no longer feeling that eye strain. I'm falling asleep easier at night, because blue light suppresses the sleep hormone melatonin. So the Blue Blocks glasses just make it easier to fall asleep at night for many people. And Blue Blocks is the company you can trust because their glasses were developed in actual optics labs in line with the peer-reviewed academic literature. They have 40 different frames to choose from. There's even a prescription version. They also have readers. There's really something for everybody. Go to blueblocks.com/Pakman and you'll get 20% off everything in their store, plus free shipping worldwide on orders over $115.